Jake West, joined by Chris Mathis and RJ Casey. This is the North Georgia edition of the Friday Night Pressbox presented by Team FYN Sports. Guys, we're pretty much halfway through. Well, I guess we are halfway through the Georgia high school football season. Before we get started and talk about last week, any big surprises from you, Chris, just looking at our area as a whole? Any big surprises that you've seen thus far?
Not off the top of my head that, really comes to mind. Obviously, Union finally was able to put together a full four-quarter game and pick up a win. But other than that, nothing real surprising. Raven County doing their thing. They've yet to play a region game. Elbert County's yet to play a region game. Riverside's now 0-2 in the region. So I guess that's kind of the biggest thing. And as of right now, Union's in first place in the region because they're 1-0 in region play.
Yeah. RJ, what about you? Any surprises from what you cover over there?
At Northwest and Central last week was a pretty big ball game, especially with region with region standings and everything. Northwest held a big lead, and Central was able to come back on them, but Northwest held the lead, and that's a big win for them because Central was probably coming into the season probably regarded as a number 2 team. With everybody coming back that they had. And Northwest had a big win there. Northwest has got Cedartown this week, so we'll see what Northwest can do there. But, yeah, that's a big win, and it's going to be interesting heading down the stretch.
Yeah, it is for sure. Chris, let's get back to Union County for a minute. That was a huge game from the Panthers last week. We put Keaton Chitwood as our FYN Sports Player of the Week, but it definitely could have went to Logan Helcher, who I think had 7 total touchdowns.
Yeah, hey, I agree with you here at WJRB, WJUL. We also selected Keaton as the Athlete of the Week. He had a big game. You talk about Logan, 18 of 22 passing, 234 pass yards, 3 passing touchdowns. Now, 2 out of his 4 incomplete passes were intercepted. One not his fault off the receiver's hands. The other one was thrown in double coverage. But Logan Helcher had a great game, and I think more importantly, the biggest step for Logan last week was the fact that he had a turnover and came out the next drive, and you would never have known that he just threw an interception the drive prior. In my opinion, that's kind of been the issue in the past with Helcher. He's worked very good or very hard. He's looked good at certain times. And typically when he does throw that one pick a ball game, that's about, what he's averaging right now. He comes out the next drive and just looks flat. He looks, deflated. That was not the case Friday night. He had a big game and also tacked on 117 rushing yards. And as you said, 4 rushing touchdowns. So 7 total touchdowns for Logan Helcher. It was all around just a good ball game. Union County was up 28-14 going into half. And really it was a 14-0 ball game. And then Riverside scored 2 unanswered. Union tacked on 1 more score. And with 1:49 left in that opening half, Logan throws a pick. Riverside takes the ball down the field. They did score on that drive. So Union gets the ball back with, I think, 46 seconds left, 1 timeout to work with. And this was pretty cool. Obviously with Kyler Robbins, the place kicker, the field goal guy, you feel pretty confident that if we can get, within the 35, 40-yard line, he can have a shot to knock down a field goal, on a really 2-minute offensive drive. And Logan has the ball at his own 46-yard line, 7 seconds left. So you have to go 54 yards for the score. Yeah, you can, if he can get out of bounds really quick, pick up 15 yards, get out with a second left, take a timeout. That's great and all, but they call a quarterback draw, and Logan Helcher takes it 54 yards to the house. Last play of the half, which was awesome. I know Coach Perry was excited about that big-time play, and so was Logan. At the same time, the same token, the other side of the token, if he's tackled there at the 5-yard line, the time is expired, and, you don't tack on a field goal. So that was big, and I think that was really the game-changing play as Union came out in the second half and played well defensively. Third play of that second half, Gage Barnes, number 35, had an interception in the flats, and after that it was downhill running for Union County. They tacked on, and for the first time this year, and minutes that actually mattered, they were able to throw in the JV guys like Connor Shuknick. They moved Caden Tanner to quarterback, and they played the last 9 minutes of the ball game there in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely the best offensive performance we've seen from the Panthers this year so far, and also touch on what they did different defensively.
Yeah, I think that defensively they finally had their guys fill in the gaps as they were supposed to. everybody knows that Thomas Nelson brings a great defense from Murphy. First week against Fannin, I thought Union's defense held up pretty well. They had 3 or 4 goal line stands there, even on 4th down against Fannin. And then there was 2 or 3 weeks in between there from Fannin to Riverside where they looked good for a half, and then second half they just kind of got depleted. I don't know if it was too many snaps for certain guys or what. But against Riverside, they played heads up. They even adjusted well with the quarterback changes that the Eagles ran with. There were certain drives where number 17 came out at quarterback, and then the next play, number 2 played quarterback. 2 different playing styles, and Union County was able to adjust. Union County defensive back Trace Wright, no joke, had his mitts on 6 passes. Almost had 6 interceptions. I'm not saying he would have brought in all of those, but he deflected 6 passes, and I know 3 of those he wishes he would have just been able to hang on. But Union was able to apply the pressure from all angles on the defensive line for the first time this year. Defensive tackle, the nose guard, they all got their hands in behind the line of scrimmage for big-time tackle for losses. Gage Barnes had a good game, and Wilson Walker, the outside linebacker, did as well.
Let's move on to you, RJ. We had Caleb Nicholson as our Pickens Dragons player of the week. He played really good defensively, but Cedartown just kind of overpowered the Dragons from the jump.
Yeah, it was a tough ball game when you're going up against one of the most athletic teams in the state, probably. Certainly, a lot of people would call the best team in the region, one of the best teams in 4A, and a team that was angry. They were coming into this ball game after not a very good performance against Calhoun on the road the week prior, and Dragons ran into a buzzsaw, obviously. But you could take some good things out of that ball game if you're the Dragons. What Coach Myers had talked about after the ball game when he was talking to the team, and he also mentioned this on the Pickens Power half-hour Dragon Talk on Team FYN Sports the other night. He saw fight in his team. He challenged his team at halftime to not give up and just fight for the rest of the ball game, and that's what they did. They only allowed 7 points in the second half, held Cedartown scoreless in the third quarter, and only got a late touchdown in the fourth quarter. So you could take some positives from that and carry it over into what's going to be another tough ball game at Ridgeland this Friday.
Yeah, go ahead and tell us. I mean, a lot of people didn't give Pickens much of a chance going into this season as a whole, but what do you think kind of shot Pickens has this week? I think they're pretty heavily favored actually against Ridgeland. Yeah,
they're Ridgeland's had a tough season so far. I believe they only have 1 win, and that's against a new school in East Forsyth on the season. But it's always tough going up to Rossville, going up to Ridgeland, because that's probably 2 hours away from Jasper, and that's always a tough travel. But the Dragons have won up there in recent times, and they'll try and do that again on Friday. But Ridgeland's playing like a team that they've got nothing to lose and everything to gain right now. They're trying to play spoiler in the region, and they've got athletes. They've always had athletes. They've got a big kid at quarterback, 6'5", 6'6", who can make plays. They've always had running backs that can make plays. So it'll be a task for the Dragons to stay on key and do what they can do, and they can come out with a win.
RJ, I've got a quick question for you. Talk about Pickens County quarterback, just a sophomore striker. I thought week 2 of the year he looked really good. All things considered, a sophomore, I thought he did a lot of pre-snap adjustments that impressed me as well. Talk about his progress, his development over the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, Sam's done a very good job. Sam, obviously the younger brother of the all-time Pickens quarterback, CJ Stryker. He's got a lot of CJ's tendencies. I think Sam's more wanting to throw first more than run first, like CJ was. But Sam is always he's very methodical in his thinking before the play, and I think that has a lot to do with the new offensive coordinator Aaron Nance. Aaron Nance is the offensive coordinator, also the QB coach. Um, they talk on the sidelines after every drive, and it's a lot in his development. He's still got 2 years, and he's gonna be a really good quarterback by the time he's a senior, and colleges are looking at him. So colleges should look at him pretty early because he's a lefty. He can throw it, he can run, and I believe he's still growing. So he's going to be a big time player by the time he's done with high school.
RJ, even in a loss like you guys had last week, what's something that stands out to you about this team that you say, okay, we're solidified here. We feel very good about this aspect of the game, whether it's special teams, defense, offense, the rushing attack, pressure up front off the defensive line. Talk about one thing that's solidified and you think every week we can rely on this to be great.
I would say from last week, the kicking game was really good. You got shut out, but you had the Sanchez brothers, Juan and Jose, doing an excellent job kicking, and they're a big part of what the Dragons do, because normally when they kick off, it's going to be in the end zone, and you got them where they can kick 40+ yard field goals and the extra points and stuff. So they're a big contributor to the ball club. And defensively, the Dragons are getting pressure on teams. I would think they'd like to maybe be a little bit more sound tackling. They had chances last week against Cedartown, and Cedartown would break a couple tackles, and they had Cedartown in 3rd and longs and stuff like that, and it just didn't go their way. So they'd like to be more sure-handed tackling. They could work on that this week, work on that for the Ridgeland game, because that's going to be another big test for them. So they've got the pieces. They've got 4 games left in their season, and one of them is at home. So they're going to be some road warriors the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's crazy, Jake. I doubt that you were at that Pickens Union game a few weeks ago, but you can correct me if I'm wrong here, RJ. I think that Sanchez had 8 consecutive touchbacks on kickoffs, which is, that's unreal. People are looking, 3 or 4 per game. That's great for a kicker. That guy had 8 consecutive touchbacks.
Yeah, he's pretty much more than likely automatic kicking it into the end zone on kickoffs. He's a great soccer player as well, and his brother is a great soccer player as well, and they're going to probably go to college for soccer, but I wouldn't be surprised if they walked on or went to a football team in college to kick as well.
Yeah, there's something we don't talk a lot about is kickers. Great kicker. Sanchez kid over Pickens is great. Katner at Fannin, he's great. The kid at Union, what a leg on that on him. I got to see him in person when Murphy and Union played.
Yeah, all these kickers that you're talking about here, Jake, they're all very, very good. And I can't wait to see. Hopefully they field some offers, because kicking game gets overlooked a lot until it's bad, until you don't have a kicker, or until you're setting up the other team's offense with great field position because your kicker's not getting touchbacks, or things like that. Pretty cool with Kyler is that he hasn't kicked in 4 years. This is the first. He showed up to practice before week 1, the day before, and said, "I want to play." So it's only going to go up from here. And obviously Katner and a few other guys really dominant in our area.
Yeah, it's definitely cool. Let's move on to some more players of the week. We've got J.J. House from Armucci. Armucci's undefeated streak was snapped last week as they lost to Mount Zion, I believe. A single A ball team, but a very good single A ball team. Chris, I know you cover Towns County in single A, and they played Armucci. I don't know if you got to see that game, but I'm sure you heard some of the buzz surrounding it. Armucci's a good ball team. They've got some really good players on that football team.
Yeah, they really do. And I know Towns County lost that game. It was week 2. They lost by, I think, 3 possessions. Sorry if the wind's picking up here. I'm not sure. I feel like Jim Cantori out here on the Friday night press box on Team FYN Sports. But anyways, yeah, Towns County, they fell short week 2 to Armurchie, 31-14 the final score. Then after that game, kind of sparked a couple of victories there for Towns County as they won the next 3 consecutive ball games. But yeah, Armurchie, a very good program as always. And there was a lot of buzz surrounding that game. A lot of teams thought, hey, you know what? Towns County could maybe surprise this team and pull off a win. And unfortunately, they were unable to do so.
Yeah, let's finish these players of the week from last week, and then let's talk about Towns County. Let's give them some shine because, I mean, they're definitely due. Chattooga player of the week from last week, running back Nick Hester, 160 rush yards, 26.6 yards per attempt, and 3 touchdowns. That's pretty efficient running the football, if I do say so myself. And then Gilmer lost a heartbreaker last week. I believe it was 32-30 to Lumpkin. But Aston Hadaway, the freshman, had a really good game, 13 tackles, 1 sack. So a young Gilmer program definitely trying to get back on top. And then North Murray, Devin Hunt, 7 rushes, 80 total yards and a touchdown. So good showing from him for sure. And then Helcher and Seth Reese. Helcher from Union County, Seth Reese from Fannin County. Probably the 2 best performances in our area, as Seth Reese nearly racked up nearly 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. So he didn't have the 7 tutties that Helcher had over in Union County, but
hey, we'll take quarterback and running back all on one. You know, you'll take the Swiss Army knife and Seth Reese.
Yeah. For sure. I think you could ask any team in the area.
Yeah. Hey, if we do a fantasy draft, who are you taking? You know, and I feel like whether it's at running back or quarterback, I mean, 8 of the 10 local teams are going to say, yeah, we'll take Seth Reese out of any program, you know, and that's no shot at anybody else. He's a tank.
Yeah, for sure. Let's take a quick break, guys, and we'll be right back. Jake West, Chris Mathis, and RJ Casey. We're going to bring in DJ Kaufman when we come back, and he's going to talk about Region 5 AA and tell us what's going on over there.
At Circuit World, we offer a wide selection of major appliances, name brands like Whirlpool, LG, Frigidaire, and more. Looking for furniture? Come by and browse our showroom or check out the Endless Aisle, a touchscreen kiosk with thousands of options. Need electronics, gaming computers, laptops, desktops, tablets? We have it all. OLED or QLED, 4K or high def. We have the selection to get you the TV of your dreams. And don't forget, at Circuit World, your credit is always good. So ask about our convenient payment options and 120 days, same as cash. Come see us today at one of our 5 area locations.
It's an opportunity you can't miss. Days Chevrolet in Jasper is stepping up and paying top dollar for your trade-in. Any make, any model. Days wants it, and we're paying top dollar to get it. So, what'll you do with all that cash? Shop for your new Chevy at dayschevroletjasper.com. New vehicles are arriving weekly, or shop from our great selection of pre-owned inventory. Don't delay. Come get cash for your vehicle today at Days Chevrolet in Jasper.
Days Chevrolet. Days gets it done.
Find new roads.
Hey girl, back so soon?
Yeah.
3rd time this morning.
Feeling too familiar with the bathroom these days? It's not just you.
Hey girl, look who made it 15 minutes.
At Erlanger Urology, we make it easy to talk about overactive bladder and treatments that work.
Hey, girl. You not coming in?
No, I'm good.
Well, okay. I'll be here, because I'm stuck.
Learn more at itsnotjustyou.com. Erlanger Urology.
In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.
Welcome back. Jake West, Director of Team FY and Sports, joined by Chris Mathis, WJRB, WJUL, and RJ Casey, our Pickens Dragons reporter. We're going to bring in DJ Kaufman. He's been covering Region 5AA for us, and Region 5AA, there's a pretty big ball game coming up. There he is. Pretty big ball game coming up in Region 5AA between Harrelson this week. Tell us about Region 5AA as a whole, and tell us about that big Harrelson County football game coming up.
Yeah, so we look at Harrelson County. They got to travel to Callaway, which Callaway is a very good program. Always have been a very good program. Both teams are looking to, solidify their number 1 spot in the region. Harrelson County, coming in 5-1 with a win off of Elbert County away last week. And then Callaway coming off their first loss of the season to Thomas County Central last week. They got beat 28-7, which was kind of surprising to most. And then all together in that region, it's a very good region in the Northwest area. You got Bremen, who's at 4-2, and then really everybody's talking about Hurt County and Temple, who's probably going to be towards the bottom of the region. And they feel like they play this week. Temple travels to Hurt County to play. And it's going to be one of them games where whoever wins that game is going to be in a spot to be going to be in a pretty good spot to pretty much solidify that last slot in the region. Where if you lose, you're kind of going to be looking from the outside in. Temple, coming off of a 46-3 victory at Best Academy. And then Hurt County actually, they're 3-3 on the year. And I was just looking up about who they played last week. If I'm not mistaken, I think they played Central. Yeah, they lost 35-20 to Central last week. With Central is a 4A school right here close to us too. So in 5AA right now, the teams to beat, I feel like, are Callaway and Harrelson County. Bremen's a good contender as well. They're coming off a loss to Darlington, which it didn't look like it was going to be a good game at first, but after halftime, Bremen's defense stepped up for them, made it a close game. I feel like the score was not really how the game went. The game was a tough fought game for both teams. Even interviewing the Darlington coach after the game, he was talking about how do you come to Bremen expecting to get an easy win? You never come to Bremen expecting to be an easy win. He was like, my goal all week was to teach my kids, hey, we got to worry about Bremen first, and they was able to handle business. Darlington had had a senior that stepped up really big for them. But in this region, like I said, I feel like Callaway and Harrelson County is probably going to be one the 2 teams that are top on the region. Harrelson County also coming off a win against Callaway last year that was actually played on a Tuesday night due to COVID issues. So Callaway is probably going to be looking for a vengeance against Harrelson County. But, yeah, for the most part, the region this week, Bremen gets off, which I feel like is a good thing for Bremen. Bremen had a lot of kids banged up to that loss against Darlington. So I feel like they kind of got the best of the schedule while getting an off week right before region play. It helps get their kids healthy, helps get their kids' mind prepared for region play.
Yeah, it's good insight, DJ. And I want to ask you more about this Harrelson Callaway game that you're going to be at this week. Let's bring in Tim Taldo really quick. Let him say a few words about Fannin County and what they were able to embarrass Pepperell last week, and just Tim, tell us how's that region going to shake out? I mean, Dade County, Chattooga. I know it. I mean, I saw some people picking Chattooga 1, and then Dade 2, and then Fannin 3. So still no respect for the Rebels, even after what they did to Pepperell.
Yeah, first of all, that was some great insight here by DJ on Region 5. And DJ, it's good to see you, man. You're doing a great job.
Good seeing you.
Man, I tell you what, it's also great to hear because obviously Region 5 and Region 7 are paired up in the first round. So, yeah, how about the Fannin County Rebels? How about still no much respect for Fannin County? Borderline County came out and dominated Pepperell. They beat Pepperell worse than Harrelson did or Brayton did. Obviously, it's not about who what. It's always who stuff. So Fannin County is putting up a lot of points. They're in the top 10 in the state in AA in points scored. They're in the top 10 in the state in AA in points allowed. Still no respect. And still, on the Northwest Georgia show the other night, you had people picking Chattooga over Fannin in the region. Which is, hey, that's fine. But I just don't see the disrespect. I think Fannin is going to win out. I think Chattooga or Dade will be the 2 seed. I'm not really sure. Right now, I'm kind of leaning towards Chattooga, but Dade County, man, they're the story of the region so far with a big win over South Pittsburgh. That nobody's talking about that. I mean, South Pittsburgh, an obvious powerhouse in the state of Tennessee, and Dade County just goes in and beats them. Obviously, with a big win over Pepperell the other week. So, I mean, Dade County is another team that's really not getting a lot of respect. For some reason, the attention is going to Chattooga right now, and very, very confused by that, considering Fannin County won the region last year. But if the season ended today, I would have to pick Fannin 1, Chattooga 2, Dade 3, and Pepperell 4. But don't count out Gordon Central this week against Pepperell. Gordon Central's going to they've played very well in the first half, both their last 2 games, and you never know what could happen.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. We heard them talk about it on the Northwest Georgia show. They said pretty much, without a doubt, Pepperell is going to get that 4 seed. What in your mind is that still up in the air, that 4 seed for the playoffs?
No, there's 4 teams in the region, but like I said, anything can happen. Gordon Central played Chattooga and Fannin very well in the first half. And then obviously Death kind of took over for Chattooga and Fannin in both those games. So, it's just there's 4 teams in the region, and that's all due respect to Gordon Central and Coosa. But I would go Fannin, Chattooga, Dade, Pepperell. But that Chattooga Dade game in a few weeks is going to be great, and the Fannin Chattooga game and the Fannin Dade game is going to be great as well.
Yeah, Fannin County on a bye week this week, right? And then they have Dade coming off.
No. So Fannin will travel to Model next week, and then they will host Chattooga for homecoming, and then they will travel to Coosa, and then on senior night they'll host Dade. So I mean, you could be looking at a true possible region championship game between Fannin and Dade County on senior night in Blue Ridge.
What was the biggest difference maker for Fannin last week? Obviously, Seth Reese nearly 300 yards, total yards and 3 touchdowns. I know you're going to have to rely heavily on him, but who's kind of a guy that's kind of the unsung hero that's really stepped up when he needed to?
Great question, Jake. Simple answer. His name is Casey Owens. What a warrior he's been. And obviously, but now he's playing offense and getting touches on the offensive ball in the backfield, just like his older brother Taylor. So, that's what's really opened up fans' offense, helped open up fans' offense, taking the load off of Reese, and obviously tons of receivers, and the offensive line playing well also.
Yeah, that's great to hear. I think without a doubt, in my mind, and most of these guys on on this podcast at least, Fannin County is it's their region to lose. Who in all of 2A, Tim, is sticking out in your mind? Obviously, Raven County's gotten a lot better, but in 5AA there are some good teams. Is there anybody else that we should be looking at? I mean, Fitzgerald,
Yeah, you got Fitzgerald, Thomasville, Callaway, obviously, Raven. An interesting matchup in AA this week is Jeff Davis and Vidalia. Both teams in the top 10. And I read something, I think, in the Georgia High School Daily this morning that Jeff Davis hasn't beat Vidalia since like 1999, I think. So, I mean, Jeff Davis and Vidalia both in the top 10 as well. Dodge County's in there. Fannin County finally getting a little bit of love. Recruit Georgia had them as a team to look out for to be ranked in the top. I think they've got them actually in top 15. So, but I tell you what, I'm interested to see the Region 7, Region 5 matchups in the playoffs. I think, DJ, I think Heard County's probably going to be that 4 seed.
Yeah,
I'm looking at right now. I think Heard will beat Temple this week, don't you?
yes, sir. That's what I feel like. Herd will beat Temple, and then Temple will be that team that's trying to look in. But I feel like Herd's going to solidify that spot. Heard County always has a good program. So yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I think Heard County's going to be that 14.
Yeah. So Heard County will actually be coming back up to Fannin County again if Fannin County wins the region. So that's a matchup you definitely got to circle as a potential. But Harrelson Callaway's huge. I think Callaway was a 7-point favorite this week, DJ.
Yeah, I think it was like 7.2, something like that.
Yeah. So I mean that's a Georgia game, one of the best games in the whole state this week. Callaway Harrelson. So obviously that region will probably be decided this week. With all due respect to Bremen, Herd, and Temple.
Yeah, DJ, tell us your thoughts on that game. Tim, thanks for joining us. You're welcome to stay. But DJ, dig into that game and tell us what to expect.
Well, just looking at everything that Harrelson County's done to this point, and looking back at last year's game, Harrelson County really took away the stars from Callaway. Callaway had, a lot of athletes that was committed to D1 schools. They still do. Callaway's always been that, D1 factory in 2A. But Harrelson County did a good job of making big plays. Got the ball turned, let the ball get turned over to them, in big situations. And even this year, their defense has kind of, stayed with that philosophy. Having 5 interceptions through 6 games, fumbles. And really, I think what's going to solidify this game in Harrelson County's favor is going to be Harrelson County being able to get off the field on third down. I've seen at some of the games I've been to with them, they've kind of struggled to getting away on third down, especially in the passing game. I feel like that's been their biggest weakness is controlling the pass. Even though they have 5 interceptions on the year, right there when teams wanted to move fast and with tempo, they kind of struggled. So I feel like going into this game, if Harrelson County can stop a fast-paced offense and can stop the star-studded lineup that Callaway's going to bring to the table like they did last year, I feel like Harrelson County will come away victorious. And then on Callaway's side, I feel like if Callaway can stop the run, which that's all Harrelson County is pretty much run. Their quarterback Clay has, I think, 9 pass attempts on the year for 188 yards, 4 touchdowns. But Clay's one of their biggest rushers. He has 82 carries for 729 yards on the year. And then you have another senior, Wesley Coe, who's their second leading rusher, and he only has 346. So a lot of their offense comes out of Clay Hyatt. But Clay Hyatt's got it done on the defense side of the ball too, with 37 total tackles on the year. So I feel like Callaway has to stop Clay Hyatt. For me, if I was looking towards this game and looking at like who I have to circle to win this game, Clay Hyatt would be a circle with 3 stars above his name. And then another thing would be Harrelson County's defensive line. They got 2 Bell brothers, Riley Bell and Ethan Bell. Ethan Bell's a sophomore. Riley Bell, he just took a visit to Tennessee Tech. Holds offers from Reinhardt. He's a big 6'3", about 240. Has a nice he's very physical. Him and his brother on the end there, they're very physical. They get after the ball. Ethan has 3 sacks. Riley has 2. Both of them have 30-plus tackles on the year. So for Callaway, it's going to be Clay Hyatt, number 1, and control the offensive line on number 2.
Stay with Double A, Chris, and who's coming out of that region, Union County, Raven region, and making the playoffs?
Well, honestly, as of now, there's only been one team, I believe, that's played a region game, or correction, no, 3 of the 4 have played region games. All 4 will make the playoffs. Correction, no, 4 out of the 5 will make the playoffs. Last year, they had a situation with COVID. Riverside Military Academy set out, decided not to play. So all 4 made the playoffs no matter the record. Of course, Raven County is going to end up number 1. And then it comes down to Elbert or Union, in my opinion, who's going to show up big down the stretch, who can get hot at the right time. As of now, Union County 1-0 in region play, Riverside 0-2, and then Banks County, I believe, they're 0-1 in region play. Raven is yet to play a region game. But as of now, Riverside is going to be out of the playoffs, so you're looking at more than likely Raven, Union, Elbert, vice versa, either way there, and then Banks County gets in at that number 4. Dependent upon how this game goes on Friday night between Union County and Banks County, as Union County will host Banks for their homecoming game. But it's going to be a tough game, and this game's really going to have like a measuring stick in regards to the standings for this year. I think Riverside's pretty much out at this point. I know it's crazy to say that just 2 games into region play, but I really do think that they're out, and then you're looking at the outcome of this game between Banks and Union and the impacts that'll have on the region. If Union County can win this one and then squeak against Elbert with a victory, they'll host a playoff game. They'll be the number 2 team. Now, if Union wins against Banks and ends up losing to Elbert, I believe that they'll be number 3. And even then, they're the 3rd team, in region play. So either way, they'd make the playoffs. You're looking at Raven, Elbert, or Union, vice versa, and then Banks County.
RJ, tell us. Obviously, Cedartown, the favorite in that region. What 4 teams are coming out of your region?
Yeah, I think it's probably fair to say Cedartown's probably front runner, probably going to win the region again. You got Northwest and Heritage that are both 1-0 right now. Pickens and Ridgeland are 0-1. But with 4 games left for everybody, big game this week in the region will be Cedartown hosting Northwest. That'll be a good barometer to see how good Northwest is. Northwest is a primarily passing team. Heritage got its win over Ridgeland. Ridgeland's struggling like we talked about earlier, but Ridgeland scored the most points of their season against Heritage last week. So they've got some momentum coming into their game against Pickens. Pickens obviously got their toughest game in the region out of the way the first game. So they'll be looking to bounce back against Ridgeland. And Central's wild card, they had a kid go down last week, had season-ending surgery, so we'll see how they deal with that. But Central and Heritage this week is a big game, and obviously I think looking at it now, if I were to say, I would say Cedartown 1, maybe Northwest 2, Pickens 3, and Heritage 4. But it's a toss up between it's going to be a toss up between Northwest, Heritage, Pickens, and Central for those 2 through 4 spots.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're everybody's just spitballing here as early as we are into region play. So everybody, I mean, everything's a toss up pretty much. But let's shift gears and go to Region 7 AAA. Let's hear what Gilmer Bobcats head coach Paul Standard had to say after their heartbreaking loss to Lumpkin. And then we'll take a break and we'll really shift gears. And Chris, we'll get you to talk about some single A football in Towns County.
Hey, Coach, what happened tonight? Well, we played a good football team and came up on the short end of the stick. Proud of the way our kids fought. You know, we got down, we got up. Their quarterback's a very good football player and, you know, hurt us, you know, and we got behind again. And then our offense turned it up a notch in the second half, and we made some big plays, had a couple freshmen step up, have some tremendous games for us. And we got ourselves right back in it. And then our defense, lo and behold, once again, bowed their neck and created a turnover and got us the ball, and we just, you know, fell short. My hat's off to Lumpkin County, and Coach Rawls has done a great job, and I know our kids are going to rebound and come back, and that's all we can do. So I'm very proud of our kids, and I'm disappointed that we got beat. We got some things we got to fix, but I am 100% positive that our young men are going to show right back up, and we're going to get right back to work and continue to get better. I love these guys, and I'm proud of how they work. And there's good things on the horizon for Gilmer football. We just got to keep working.
At Circuit World, we offer a wide selection of major appliances, name brands like Whirlpool, LG, Frigidaire, and more. Looking for furniture? Come by and browse our showroom or check out the Endless Aisle, a touchscreen kiosk with thousands of options. Need electronics, gaming computers, laptops, desktops, tablets? We have it all. OLED or QLED, 4K or high def. We have the selection to get you the TV of your dreams. And don't forget, at Circuit World, your credit is always good. So ask about our convenient payment options and 120 days, same as cash. Come see us today at one of our 5 area locations.
It's an opportunity you can't miss. Days Chevrolet in Jasper is stepping up and paying top dollar for your trade-in. Any make, any model. Days wants it, and we're paying top dollar to get it. So, what'll you do with all that cash? Shop for your new Chevy at DaysChevroletJasper.com. New vehicles are arriving weekly, or shop from our great selection of pre-owned inventory. Don't delay. Come get cash for your vehicle today at Days Chevrolet in Jasper.
Days Chevrolet. Days gets it done.
Find new roads.
Hey, girl. Back so soon?
Yeah.
Third time this morning.
Feeling too familiar with the bathroom these days? It's not just you.
Hey, girl. Look who made it 15 minutes.
At Erlanger Urology, we make it easy to talk about overactive bladder and treatments that work.
Hey, girl. You not coming in?
No, I'm good.
Well, okay. I'll be here, because I'm stuck.
Learn more at itsnotjustyou.com. Erlanger Urology.
In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.
Okay, Chris, let's get into tell us about Towns County. I know you got to talk with Coach Rockmore. Big game for Towns County coming up this week against Commerce.
Yeah, no doubt about it. They're coming off of a tough loss, one in which snapped their 3-game winning streak as they lost to Lincoln County. Right now, the 3rd team in the region in regards to standings. The final score 43-12 in that game. Towns County had some issues up front in the trenches. I know that they were in the ball game until midway through the 3rd quarter. I think it was 23-12 at that point. They were still in the game. And then a couple of costly plays there by Towns County, and Lincoln County able to execute upon those. I believe an interception for a touchdown. And Towns County even had a fumble, a muffed punt return in their own red zone. in which, a couple plays later, Lincoln County able to score a touchdown off of. Rockmore was proud of his Indians fight. He says that they're able to compete with any team in this region, and that does snap a 3-game winning streak. I think that's good. I know that's crazy to say, and some might think I'm the oddball for saying that, but I think it's good now that Towns County kind of gets a quick check, reality check. Hey, we need to wake up. Let's see what we need to clean up on here as we get down the stretch in region play. That was just the first region game of the year for Towns County. And as of now, there's a toss-up for that 4th spot between Greene County, Social Circle, and Towns County. Those 3 teams are going to find themselves fighting for that 4th spot or maybe even the 3rd spot in the region play if they can get lucky here and there. Obviously, Washington Wilkes, a good program, 5-1, 1-0 in region play. Commerce, number 2 right now, they're going to play against Towns County this week in Hiawassee. That's a huge game. And if Towns County can squeak by Commerce, which I think is very doable, obviously they lost Sammy Brown, the running back, as he transferred to Jefferson. His dad's no longer with the program either. Coach Rockmore told me at practice yesterday on Wednesday that, he feels like Commerce is in the same spot that Towns County was during Rockmore's first year 3 seasons ago, as they were trying to figure out, play calls, the system, what they like to see, what their ultimate goal is on offense, what they expect from their defense. So Commerce has a shot to lose this game. Towns County has a shot to win it at home, and this would be huge as Towns County can not only solidify a 4th spot in the region, but maybe even creep up at that number 3 spot. But again, we'll see how things play out. Obviously, Colin Crowder, a great player there at Towns County. Kyle Oakes, too. Colin Crowder, even against a good team like Lincoln County, a program that's a perennial playoff team, had 9 catches, 84 yards. Kyle Oakes, I mean, he's unreal. He really is. I hope a college scoops up on him and realizes what this Towns County football team has to offer with Kyle Oakes. 994 rushing yards on the year. Last I checked, that's top 3 in the state for any classification. That's number 1 in single A in the state of Georgia for rushing yards. And even against a good team like Lincoln, he had over 100 yards rushing, 2 rush touchdowns, and then 21 yards receiving in that game as well. So their star players are still competing, with the other guys. They're, just as good as the other guys. It's a matter of if all 11 guys show up on both sides of the ball for Towns County. The trenches, a little slow in that game against Lincoln County on both sides of the ball. But, they're going to be able to bounce back this week. I feel like pick up a quick win against Commerce and get back to winning ways and establish and work on what they're already great at, and then key in on things that they struggle with that they saw against Lincoln County last week. And Coach Rockmore said it's all about restart. Like any great coach will say, it's all about your next game. Don't dwell on the past. Don't dwell on last week's loss to Lincoln County. Hit that reset button on Monday. And Rockmore said that's what the Towns County Indians have done this week in practice. In regards to Commerce, they've gotten better each and every week. They're 3-2 right now. As you guys know, Towns County 4-2 overall. The only true difference, obviously, Towns County has one more win. Commerce has one win up on Towns County in region play. It's Towns County 0-1 in region and Commerce 1-0. So this would be huge for Towns to pick up a victory. And we'll see what they can do Friday night. I believe it's homecoming. This is a big-time crowd, big-time game. And those fans are showing up there in Hiawassee. I mean, 3 years ago when I started working for 95.1, 97.7, guys were not showing up to Towns County. It was more like, it was a visiting crowd showing up to Hiawassee. Now it's the opposite. Those stands fill out, and, the crowd's really behind them. And it obviously goes back to last year's success with Rockmore in his second year. But these guys are on the right track. And obviously, 3 years into a coaching stint, you feel like you know what you have with your head coach. And sometimes after year number 3, you're like, this guy is not the guy. We're going to give this guy one more year, or we're going to get rid of this guy. Jason Rockmore is the guy in Towns County.
Yeah, I think that definitely goes without saying. But we know the Kyle Oaks, we know the Colin Crowders. I'm going to ask each of you guys this, and in your respective regions and teams, who's somebody first, Chris, from Towns County, and then somebody from Union County that is maybe not Kyle Oaks, but who's somebody from Towns County that you expect to have a big game this week if they're going to beat Towns County? Who's your boom guy this week for Towns County?
Oh man, you put me on the spot with that one. Let's go with their quarterback. I'm going to blank on his name right now. I just spoke with him yesterday at practice. I think the quarterback, Connor Chastain, he rebounds this week. I know last week threw a pick six. Rockmore was a little disappointed in that pass as the Indian wide receiver was wide open, overthrew him. But Connor Chastain, he's been a great quarterback, more of a game manager, a guy that's not going to cost you a game. But I think this week, I think he can really step up and be a surprise and obviously help push Towns County over Commerce. And it makes things a lot easier when you have a guy like Kyle Oakes who can catch out of the backfield, a guy in Colin Crowder who can make a play on the far side and even do those end-around plays at wide receiver. But, yeah, I'm going to give it to Connor Chastain, quarterback there at Towns County. I think he has a big game against Commerce and can put his name on the map for the Indian offense.
If Union's going to win this week, if Panthers are going to win, who's got to have a big game for them?
Oh, man, you're putting me on the spot once again. Let's say, obviously, Chitwood's had a couple of big games here and there. 3-touchdown performance last week against Riverside, 2-touchdown performance a few weeks back against Chestatee. Logan Houcher, you know that if he's on his A game, he's definitely a dual threat quarterback. I think those guys are expected. I'm going to go with kind of a toss-up in Caden Tanner, who's really stepped up at running back. I'm not sure if you know, Jake, you might know actually, against Murphy. I think that he got his first ever start. Where's number 17 in the backfield? He's actually the number 2 quarterback on the roster. Never played running back in his life. Is now the starting running back for Union County. And he's had 3 consecutive games where you're like, okay, they're able to establish that rushing attack. Last week against Riverside, we had over 60 yards from Caden Tanner rushing the football. He's got 2 receiving touchdowns on the year, 3 rushing touchdowns in the year. I think Caden Tanner is kind of that scat back that, hey, if he can punch it in from, 3 different times, Union County can prevail over this football team on Friday night. And I think that Caden Tanner is more than capable of doing so. He's very shifty, very agile. He's smaller for running back. Again, a backup quarterback, fulfilling some playing time there at running back. I think Caden Tanner's my surprise guy to really show out and make a name for himself. And in terms of next year with Logan Houcher graduating, Caden Tanner is going to be the quarterback. So this playing time from behind Logan Houcher and being able to see the field and see what reads Houcher makes is going to be key in the development next year with Tanner going to be a junior for Union County. So Caden Tanner's my pick on Friday night.
Yeah, Tanner really impressed me. I think the Murphy game, I guess it was his first action at running back. He played very well in that game, and he kind of gives them a little different dynamic when he's back there in the backfield.
Kind of like a spark, if you will. He can catch the ball out of the backfield, which is something they kind of struggled with before.
RJ, who's somebody for Pickens that needs to have a good game in order for them to go down and beat Ridgeland?
I can say like the normal suspects, like a Devin Hand or a Sam Stryker or a Marcus Pike or somebody on defense. But I'm gonna go with Colby Brooks. Colby Brooks is a kid that, like what Chris was saying, is a Swiss Army knife with the Dragons. He, like Hand, plays both ways. They're both corners on defense, but on offense, Colby will play wide receiver. He's that slot wide receiver. He's like a Wes Welker type receiver, on the shorter end of the stick. But I tell you what, it takes a couple 2-3 guys to get him down because he'll make you miss. He'll run through tackles. He fights for yards on end arounds, on short passes. And he's also a kick returner and a punt returner as well. And he helps the Dragons get good field position on those returns. And he's a kid that really helps make the offense go for the Dragons. And he's a big contributor on defense as well as special teams. So I think if Colby can get some things going, that'll open up things for the Dragons and help them pick up a win on Friday.
DJ, I know you've got some lineman love for me. Who's somebody from that Harrelson team that needs to have a good game in order to win?
I would say it's hard because, of course, Clay has to be clicking for the offense to move well. but I am going to go with the defensive line. I feel like Ethan Bell and Riley Bell are going to have a good game on the edges, controlling, sweeps, little screens that Callaway like to play, like to throw. So I feel like Ethan and Riley Bell are both going to have probably their best games of the year against a really good Callaway team. Callaway number 10 in the state of Georgia. So I feel like Ethan and Riley Bell, they're both going to have to step up, make big plays like they've been doing all year for us County to take the win.
Yeah, well, guys, I think that's gonna pretty much do it for us. DJ, I appreciate you coming on. Like to have you on again next week and just highlight, because I mean you're our game of the week this week, with Harrelson and Callaway. And RJ, you've got a big game this week. Pickens has got to go get that win if they want to stay in the conversation in the region. Chris, you're all over the place. You've got as many teams to cover as I do. So I know you're going to be busy this weekend. But, guys, thank you. Thanks for coming on. This is the North Georgia edition of the Friday Night Press Box presented by Team FYN Sports.
At Circuit World, we offer a wide selection of major appliances, name brands like Whirlpool, LG, Frigidaire, and more. Looking for furniture? Come by and browse our showroom or check out the Endless Aisle, a touchscreen kiosk with thousands of options. Need electronics, gaming computers, laptops, desktops, tablets? We have it all. OLED or QLED, 4K or high def. We have the selection to get you the TV of your dreams. And don't forget, at Circuit World, your credit is always good. So ask about our convenient payment options and 120 days, same as cash. Come see us today at one of our 5 area locations.
It's an opportunity you can't miss. Days Chevrolet in Jasper is stepping up and paying top dollar for your trade-in. Any make, any model. Days wants it, and we're paying top dollar to get it. So, what'll you do with all that cash? Shop for your new Chevy at DaysChevroletJasper.com. New vehicles are arriving weekly, or shop from our great selection of pre-owned inventory. Don't delay. Come get cash for your vehicle today at Days Chevrolet in Jasper.
Days Chevrolet. Days gets it done.
Find new roads.
Hey, girl. Back so soon?
Yeah.
Third time this morning.
Feeling too familiar with the bathroom these days? It's not just you.
Hey, girl. Look who made it 15 minutes.
At Erlanger Urology, we make it easy to talk about overactive bladder and treatments that work.
Hey, girl. You not coming in?
No, I'm good.
Well, okay. I'll be here, because I'm stuck.
Learn more at itsnotjustyou.com. Erlanger Urology.
In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.